YouTube? Ed Bishop with Backwoods with the Bishops here this morning. So today, guys, we're gonna run the bandsaw. We're gonna make ourselves a bunch of lumber for next to nothing. Okay guys, that's done. Got a big old pile of logs, and that'll probably take me over a day. There's other things that has to be done too, like empty the jig and like saw the jig and stuff like that. You have to clean up at the end of the day. It'll probably take me about a day and a half to saw these. I guess we'll find out soon enough, won't we? But that's it for today. So we gotta go get ourselves a battery. And then, yeah, we'll be back over here. So today, guys, we're gonna run the bandsaw. We're gonna make ourselves a bunch of lumber for next to nothing. Come along for the ride. We're gonna get a good load of, well, I guess most of it's balsam fir. There's some red pine in there. There's a couple spruce. I think that's the majority of what's in there. So let's get bandsawing. Might work, we'll see. Black flies are pretty bad. Not pretty bad, but they suck. There's a couple of them that are dead, guys, so I'm not gonna get too crazy about saving stuff out of the edges. The edges is where it goes punk first, so we're gonna get the center and anything else that's good out of it. So guys, since this is a really dumb log, it was very curved and I'm still trying to salvage stuff out of it. Down here, you got all the bark. We need to flip this over so that this can pinch on there. All right, that was awesome. We had like an 8x8, so we got 8 2x4s out of that. That was great. It's so much better than getting the tiny logs that you suffer through to get some wood. Oh my goodness. Okay guys, so our jig, slab jig, is getting pretty darn full. I go and have to cut that thing. So my dad's built this thing. You cut that at 16-inch on center all the way down and you throw that straight in the stove right out of there. This is the second one I've done this morning for this much wood. Like that's starting to stack up there pretty nice. But yeah, second jig of wood. There was one big red pine in there that it had a lot of, well, it was really, most of it was junk, but I decided to cut them anyway. I got something out of it. Alrighty, here we go. So that's ready for the stove. We'll go throw that in the shop bay. That's gonna heat the shop this winter. Not just that, but then we got the other junk wood that goes in there, but that's a good spot to put it. Let's get over there. Alrighty, here we are at the shop, looking pretty scarce over here. Yikes. So there's my first load from this morning, and then the rest of the dry stuff around the outside. That's all that was left. So yeah, we gotta get this stacked in here. Well, not stacked, we throw it in, it's easy. Whew, that was fast. Okay guys, so our sawdust pile has gotten pretty big. We're gonna gut our shovel, gonna shovel that back into a pile. That sawdust doesn't really get wasted. We'll bag that up for the chickens and stuff, and Dad's got pigs, he'll use it for the pigs and whatnot, so we'll just throw that back over there into that pile, and then come get it whenever we need it. Hey guys! So guys, my dad bought my sister a little electric four-wheeler for, well, she doesn't turn 16 till way later in the summer. She has, I don't know what her condition is anyway. She's not gonna really develop to be someone who probably can drive. Maybe. Not saying she can't, but so she's not getting a vehicle at 16. So her, so Dad bought her that four-wheeler. So she's gonna be able to plug around on the property for all the whole summer enjoying that. So it's electric, I don't know much about it, except for it's kind of cool. Okay, now it's time for lunch. Catch you later. See you in a little bit. Okay guys, we are after lunch. We got the back to the bandsaw here. We're gonna see how much we can't get done this afternoon. Let's get back to it. It gets to be a lot of pitch buildup on the blade if you're not careful. You have to run water if you don't want that to happen, but it's not bad. So I just run the knife on it once in a while, it cleans it right up. There's another load, guys. Good riddance. We're making some wood. Sheesh. The trailer is stacking up super nice. It's getting late in the afternoon now. Well, I don't know about late, but Ed calls it late. 2:30. I don't know how much more we're gonna get done. Gotta go get rid of all this jig here first anyway. Laura will put a link in the description for this guy. This is a 600 CFM, not DeWalt. I put that on there. I got my 6 volt, 60 volt, 6 amp hour battery on there. Anyway, I bought this just actually primarily for this. Well, that was easy. So guys, the big deal is right now it's summer, it's dry, it's fine, it's not a big deal. If you're doing this in like early spring and like everything's freezing at night still, if that gets wet, all the sawdust freezes on there and then it like gets damp and frozen, you can't even move the bandsaw the next day when you get here. That thing's frozen in place because there's little bits of sawdust all inside or whatever. The whole rail's got sawdust on it. So you're there with the broom trying to brush it off. Well, you buy this thing and that's the end of those problems. Well, guys, hope you thought that was a pretty hefty day. We got our massive trailer of wood and the pile has gone down significantly. Come check it out at this end. I'll compare that this morning to what it is now. Put a huge dent in that pile. That was fantastic. Hope you liked today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what Ed's got to offer. Hi, dear.
Hi.
Catch you guys next time. Have a good one.